Are you even listening to me? I asked, feeling frustration bubbling up inside. We were discussing our daughter's career path for her senior year of high school, but my husband Dave was distracted by his phone. I'm talking about something important here, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Dave glanced up briefly. If she wants to go to college, she'll have to pay for it herself. I don't have money to throw away on my daughter who can't even take care of her own grandmother. I stared at the screen of his phone, bewildered by what I saw. What on earth does he mean? I thought, my mind racing. Dave and I had been married for 18 years, and our only daughter, Anna, was a sophomore in high school. Things had been going well, and I was studying hard, and we were managing a peaceful life together. But there was one issue that continued to gnaw at me: my mother-in-law, Judy. When I married Dave, my own mother passed away soon after. At the funeral, Judy had made a series of inappropriate comments. "Mom, you're my son's wife now. Don't waste your tears on this," she had said, completely insensitive to my grief. Her comments didn't stop there. The reason she died so young was because of her own bad behavior, Judy had added, making a mockery of my mother. I was stunned into silence, and Dave, furious at his mother's cruelty, had told her to leave. Since then, we had cut off contact with Dave's side of the family. My anger towards Judy had dulled over time, but the thought of never seeing them again lingered. They were, after all, Anna's grandparents. Then we received the news of my father-in-law's death. Despite the strained relations, we attended the funeral. Judy, who I hadn't seen in years, appeared frail and grief-stricken. She seemed genuinely heartbroken, and I wondered if she was truly mourning the loss of her husband. A few days later, after the funeral and the inheritance matters were settled, Dave came home with a proposal. "I think we should move in with Judy," he said. "She's alone now, and my mother is very depressed." I considered Judy, alone and grieving. Maybe she was feeling the weight of her loneliness more than I had realized. I understood why Dave was concerned for Judy, and after some consideration, I agreed that moving in with her might be the right thing to do. So we packed up and relocated to my in-laws' house. At first, I was hopeful. "I'm looking forward to living with you, Judy," I said. But Judy's response quickly soured my optimism. "You haven't done much as a wife so far, so you better start making up for it," she said sharply. "And while you're at it, make me some tea. Can't you see I'm feeling down? You need to be more considerate." I was taken aback by her harshness. I had moved in with the intention of easing her loneliness, but her attitude was anything but welcoming. To make matters worse, Dave and I both worked full-time, but he left all the household chores to me. "Hey, is dinner ready yet?" he asked as he came home from work. "You're such a bad wife, ignoring your duties. I'm really disappointed in you." I couldn't understand why Judy was constantly criticizing me, and it seemed to be getting worse. Judy's discontent didn't stop with me. She started targeting Anna too. "Hey, please fold the laundry," Judy would demand. "But I'm studying right now," Anna would respond. Judy's reply was stinging. "What a charmless girl you are, just like your mother. You can't even obey your elders. Girls should be helping around the house instead of just studying." Anna, going through a rebellious phase, snapped back. "Studying is important. Doing house chores all the time isn't useful." Judy's frustration boiled over. "You're such a useless child." The tension between Judy and Anna escalated rapidly, and the situation grew increasingly strained. It was clear that the relationship was deteriorating fast. I found myself regretting our decision to live with Judy, questioning why I had agreed to this in the first place. Meanwhile, Dave was gradually being swayed by Judy's influence. "Welcome home, honey," Judy greeted him as he walked in. "Let me take your bag and jacket. You should sit and relax." "Thanks," Dave replied, settling into a chair. Judy turned to me with a disapproving look. "It's a wife's job to serve her husband," she said. "I'd like to teach Clara how to be a good wife, but it's difficult when she's unmotivated and doesn't take me seriously." I could hardly believe what I was hearing. Dave, under Judy's influence, defended her whenever she lied or complained, ignoring what Anna and I had to say. "Clara and Anna are always harassing me," Judy complained. "Please do something about it." "That's disgusting," I said. "I've never harassed her." "She always crumples up my laundry and treats me terribly," Judy continued. "I've never done that," I protested. "She's the one who complains and harasses me constantly." "How dare you talk like that?" Judy snapped. "You're not being a good wife at all. It's all thanks to me that you're able to live comfortably. You know that, right? Dave, believing Judy's lies, began to lash out at me and Anna. As this turmoil became a regular occurrence, Anna was about to start her senior year of high school. The situation reached a new low on the day of a parent-teacher conference at her school. I made it a point to attend every parent-teacher conference and always kept Dave informed about what was discussed. That evening, we were in the living room after dinner, discussing Anna's college plans. Anna's considering several colleges with strong programs in her field. I said. Her teacher mentioned that if she's set on this particular college. Are you even listening to me? I interrupted, noticing that Dave was absorbed in his phone. He didn't look up or show any interest, just like he had been last year. I'm talking about something important here, I persisted. Shut up, Dave retorted. If she wants to go to college, she'll have to pay for it herself. I don't have money to waste on a daughter who can't even look after her own grandmother. I was taken aback by his response. What are you talking about? What do you mean, stupid? I don't have any money of my own, and you're being incredibly irresponsible. You have some nerve relying on me for money when it suits you. Dave snapped. You're just like your mother. I wonder how she raised you to be so entitled. My daughter, Anna, who had been listening, confronted Dave. His anger flared up, and Judy chimed in, taking Dave's side. If the mother is inadequate, the daughter will be too, Judy said. A daughter who doesn't know her place and gets too big for her britches doesn't deserve any support. That's right, Dave agreed. Why should I pay for a selfish, ungrateful daughter? Dave's words cut deep. I couldn't believe he was calling Anna selfish. We had been saving diligently for her college education, and it wasn't as if we were broke. I reached my breaking point. I couldn't stand Dave and Judy's disdain, fueled by their dislike for us. If you're going to be this insistent about money, then fine, I said, my frustration boiling over. I'm filing for divorce. The words felt like a release. You won't be able to afford Anna's college fees on your own, you know. Dave scoffed. If you want a divorce, go ahead. I don't want a useless wife who can't even support her own husband's family. And I certainly don't want a daughter who's been raised by such an idiot. He continued, the savings we've accumulated will be used for my family, especially my mother. Don't count upon any of it? Fine, I said, trying to keep my composure. I hope you live in a world where your arrogance is tolerated. Dave's anger flared, and he looked down at me with disdain. I met his gaze with a defiant laugh. Don't worry about the money, I told Anna gently. Just come with me. Anna, bewildered by the sudden turn of events, remained silent. You're going to run to your father and cry, aren't you? I continued. He must be so annoyed that you depend on him at your age. But I guess it's not surprising since he raised you to be his idiot daughter. I added, you get angry when people speak badly about your family, yet you're quick to judge others. You're so contradictory. When Anna heard my words, she seemed to come to a realization. Let's go now, Anna, I said. Okay, Mom, I'm coming with you, she replied. So Anna and I left my in-laws' house and decided to stay at my parents' place for the time being. A few days later, I instructed my lawyer to move forward with the divorce and sent a certified notice to Dave. Not long after, Dave showed up at my parents' house. What are you doing here? I asked, opening the door. I'm so sorry. I apologize sincerely. Dave pleaded. I don't want a divorce. Please come back home. He looked at me with a pitiful expression and tried to cling to me. I was stunned by his audacity. I had already suspected that our joint savings were dwindling. When I requested a background check from the credit card company, I discovered that Dave had been spending money at a club, entertaining hostesses. It seemed he had been preparing for the divorce in secret. Dave was known at the club as a customer that hostesses avoided. In his desperation, Dave had proposed to one of the club hostesses, claiming he wanted to marry her. I'm going to divorce my wife, so marry me, he had said. What are you talking about? The hostess had replied, clearly uninterested. I truly love you and can make you happy, Dave insisted. I'm not interested, she had said, rejecting his proposal. When Dave's advances were repeatedly turned down, he became a nuisance. Eventually, he was banned from the club, and his contact information was blocked. Still undeterred, Dave waited near the club, hoping for another chance. I'm serious, he pleaded. Please just listen to me. I have to go to work now, the hostess said firmly. Please, I need to talk to you, Dave persisted. I'm in a hurry, she responded, leaving him behind. When Dave attempted to speak with the club hostess directly, she rejected him coldly. His persistent behavior did not go unnoticed. His colleagues at work began to shun him. When his boss learned about Dave's nighttime escapades, he was summoned for a serious discussion. I hear you've been stalking a club hostess, the boss said, clearly unimpressed. I'm not too fond of that kind of behavior. Dave, still fixated on his pursuit, responded, I'm serious about our relationship and thinking about marrying her. I really love her. I understand your feelings, the boss replied, but I'm not sure she shares the same intentions. If you speak with her properly, she might understand. Well, to begin with, I thought you had a wife and a daughter, the boss continued, looking perplexed. My wife and I are getting a divorce, Dave said dismissively. Both my wife and daughter are annoying. They're making a fuss about college, while the hostess is far better than my selfish wife and daughter. The boss was taken aback by Dave's shallow reasoning. What on earth are you thinking? As a husband, you should consider your wife's position. I did, Dave insisted. But my mother? You only listen to your mother, the boss cut in. If you're a husband, you should also listen to your wife. Besides, you don't take your daughter's college aspirations seriously but are all in for another woman. How can you think that's acceptable as a father? You better get your act together, the boss warned. Yes, sir, Dave replied, shaken by the confrontation. As a result of his behavior, Dave was demoted and faced a pay cut, a stark consequence of his actions. I sent Dave a certified letter demanding a divorce, custody of Anna, a division of property, and reimbursement for the money he'd spent on the club for alimony. I'm really sorry, I was wrong. Let's start over, Dave pleaded when he received the letter. Even if we don't divorce, you still owe me for the money you spent behind my back, I replied firmly. What? Dave was taken aback by the mention of the money. I could see his surprise was more about the financial burden than any genuine desire to reconcile. His reluctance to pay and his insincere offer to make amends showed that he had no real intention of making things right. With a sigh of frustration, I said, I manage all the house chores, look after Anna, and take care of your own mother. I can't possibly go back to someone like you, who decides our future based on whims and then plays around with younger women. Dave stammered. I made it clear that there was no chance of reconciliation. Just then, Anna came around from the back of the house. I'm really sorry, Dave said, turning to her. I'll be a good father. Let's start over. Anna looked at him with cold disdain. Do you have any idea what I've been going through these past few months? If you think a simple apology can fix everything, you're mistaken. Just because I'm in high school doesn't mean you can belittle me. A father who jeopardizes his daughter's future while spending money on other young women is both creepy and gross. Dave was visibly shocked by Anna's harsh rejection. He slumped his shoulders and left, completely defeated. Soon after, Dave fell into a deep depression, unable to cope with the gravity of his situation. I've grown weary of middle-aged men who blur the lines between reality and fantasy. Dave's persistent attempts to reconcile were futile. Even the hostess he pursued rejected him. Eventually, Dave accepted the terms and paid the fees I claimed. The money he spent on the club and the alimony was covered by my ex-father-in-law's inheritance, but it wasn't enough. The remaining balance was paid in installments. The monthly alimony and child support payments became a struggle for Dave, especially after his pay cut at work. After the divorce, Judy came to visit me at my parents' house. You've made my life so difficult, she said, her voice sharp. I've forgiven you, so you should forgive my son and come back home. Judy's accusations and screaming at the front door left me exasperated. I was fed up with my selfish mother-in-law who always looked down on me. I called Dave, who rushed over to pick up Judy. Mom, what are you doing? He asked, bewildered. I'm telling your stubborn wife to get her act together, Judy replied, still fuming. I'm not his wife anymore, I said calmly. I have a record of everything you've said to me while we lived together, and I can file for additional alimony if you keep this up. Are you even listening to me? Judy retorted, her anger rising. How did you speak to me like that? She snapped. That's enough, Dave finally interjected, his patience wearing thin. You're putting me in a difficult position, Mother. In a fit of anger, Dave decided to put Judy in an institution. With the alimony, child support payments, and facility costs, Dave's financial situation became increasingly strained. Another challenging month passed. Dave now had to manage all the house chores alone and face a lonely existence. Meanwhile, Anna and I were finding peace at my parents' house. She focused on preparing for her college entrance exams despite the chaos. "Here's your dinner," I said, handing her a plate. "Why don't you take a break?" "Thanks, Mom," Anna replied, her eyes brightening. "I was just starting to get hungry. I'll eat now." "You're working hard," I said, "but don't push yourself too much." Anna smiled. "I'm determined to be independent and succeed on my own. I'm not going to rely on anyone else." I chuckled at her resolve. If my daughter is committed to her path, I'll do everything I can to support her. Her happiness means more to me than anything else.